Seaman Recruit. Seaman Recruit is the very first rank for enlisted members in the US Coast Guard, just below Seaman Apprentice. It used to be called Seaman Third Class. This rank has two pay levels, one for those who have served less than 4 months and a slightly higher one for those who have served longer, even if they haven't been promoted yet. Everyone at this rank is called a Seaman Recruit, no matter what job they do. Seaman Apprentice. Seaman Apprentice is the next rank above Seaman Recruit and just below Seaman. It was once called Seaman Second Class. In the Coast Guard, people at this level don't wear special marks to show their job specialty like they do in the Navy. If a Seaman Apprentice finishes training for a certain job, called a rating, and is accepted into it, they are called a designated striker. If they haven't been assigned a rating yet, they are called undesignated or non-rates. Seaman. Seaman is the third enlisted rank in the Coast Guard, higher than Seaman Apprentice and lower than Petty Officer Third Class. It used to be called Seaman First Class. People at this rank work in areas like ship operations, technical jobs, weapons, or office tasks. In the Navy, E3s have different titles depending on their job, but in the Coast Guard, they're usually all called Seamen. If they've trained for and earned a rating, they're designated strikers. If not, they're still non-rates. Petty Officer Third Class. Petty Officer Third Classes. The first rank where someone becomes a non-commissioned officer, meaning they start taking on more responsibility and leadership. They are called by their job title, like Yeoman Third Class. They're also allowed to do law enforcement and customs duties. To stay in the Coast Guard, they usually have to get promoted to E5 within 8 years, or they may have to leave, according to a rule called high year tenure. Getting promoted to this rank isn't automatic. It depends on how well they do in their job, test scores, and whether there are openings. Some jobs offer automatic promotion once training and service time are complete. Petty Officer Second Class. After being promoted from Petty Officer Third Class, a Petty Officer Second Class takes on more responsibility. They balance technical proficiency with early-stage leadership. They are expected to grow as leaders, improve their technical skills, and continue learning their chosen job specialty. They are also allowed to enforce maritime law and work as federal customs officers. Petty officers at this level must keep improving. They have 14 years to qualify for the next promotion. If they don't move up in that time, they will also be required to leave the Coast Guard due to high year tenure. Petty Officer First Class. This rank marks a shift from learning to leading. Petty Officers First Class are seasoned specialists and emerging leaders expected to take charge, manage responsibilities, and keep advancing. They can access college-level education through Coast Guard programs and continue serving as law enforcement officials. Staying in the game means earning the next promotion within 20 years, or facing mandatory separation. Chief Petty Officer. Earning the anchor insignia is a milestone. It means you've joined the Chiefs. These veterans mentor junior crew members, run training programs, and support officers fresh out of officer candidate school. Their expertise isn't just technical, they're organisational leaders, often stationed aboard cutters or leading shore units. Chiefs must promote again within 24 years or retire under high year tenure. Senior Chief Petty Officer. Think of this rank as Chief Plus, all the mentorship, technical mastery and leadership, but on a broader scale. Senior chiefs don't just lead teams, they often oversee entire departments and help shape unit policy. They're trusted with bigger roles in administration and strategy and are expected to lead both by knowledge and by example. Master Chief Petty Officer. Masters are the pinnacle of enlisted professionalism. With decades of experience, they're the go-to authorities in their specialties. Whether running a Coast Guard station or captaining a patrol boat, these leaders command respect. Promotion from here isn't automatic. It involves selection for elite leadership paths like the Command Master Chief program. Command Fleet Master Chief Petty Officer. These Master Chiefs serve as the senior enlisted advisors to unit commanders. They're not just seasoned professionals, they're the voice of the enlisted force. Their job? to relay concerns from the deck plates to top leadership and make sure sailors' welfare, morale and readiness stay on point. Master Chief Petty Officer of the Coast Guard. This is the top enlisted position in the Coast Guard. The Master Chief Petty Officer of the Coast Guard is appointed by the Commandant of the Coast Guard and represents every enlisted member across the entire service, advising the Commandant directly. By protocol, they are equal to a Vice Admiral. They help shape Coast Guard-wide policies. Their presence ensures the rank and file are heard at the highest levels of leadership. Warrant Officers. Warrant officers are technical experts who rank above enlisted members but below commissioned officers. They bring specialised knowledge and serve as key leaders in their fields. To become a Chief Warrant Officer too, one must serve at least 8 years as a non-commissioned officer and show strong expertise in a specific area. Chief Warrant Officer 3 and Chief Warrant Officer 4 are mid- and senior level ranks, earned over time through continued performance. Warrant officers at these levels can apply to become commissioned officers through the Warrant to Lieutenant program. Ensign. Ensigns are brand new commissioned officers taking their first steps into leadership. Though the Coast Guard doesn't formally split officers into specialties, ensigns still follow different paths: shipboard operations, aviation, marine safety, and more. Typically assigned as division officers, they lead small teams of enlisted personnel in areas like navigation, engineering, or weapons systems. At the same time, they're undergoing intensive on-the-job training from senior officers and experienced petty officers. Ensigns commit to a minimum of 3 years of active service. Lieutenant, junior grade. About 18 months after commissioning, most ensigns are promoted to lieutenant, junior grade, a transitional rank that bridges the gap between entry-level leadership and more advanced responsibility. They often remain in division officer roles, now with greater independence and deeper technical expectations. They serve on cutters, at air stations, or within command staff. Lieutenant. Lieutenants are established officers with several years of experience under their belt. Typically promoted from lieutenant junior grade after around 2 years, often leading entire departments or managing important parts of a ship or base. Whether they're in charge of navigation on a cutter or running a section on land, they're expected to lead with confidence, solve problems, and help train younger officers and crew. Lieutenant Commander. This is a mid-level rank where officers go from helping lead teams to actually being in charge of whole units. Lieutenant commanders might run smaller ships, lead air crews, or manage important programs and officers. By this point, they've been in the Coast Guard for a while and are trusted to both lead and make sure missions go smoothly while following Coast Guard rules and goals. Commander. Commanders are senior officers who often run large units, like big ships, air stations, or entire departments on shore. They've usually been in service for around 15 to 17 years. Even though their official rank is Commander, if they're in charge of a ship, people usually call them Captain out of tradition. At this level, they're not just leading teams, they're making big decisions that affect entire operations. Captain. Captains are among the top officers in the Coast Guard. They command the biggest ships, manage whole Coast Guard sectors, or lead major air stations. Some are also in charge of marine safety and law enforcement in ports across the country. Captains have a lot on their shoulders, managing people, budgets, safety, and mission success all at once. It's one of the highest leadership roles before entering the Admiral ranks. Rear Admiral, lower half. This is the first Admiral rank in the Coast Guard, marked by 1 star. Officers at this level move beyond day-to-day leadership and step into big-picture roles. They might run large areas, called districts, lead specialised divisions like cybersecurity, or represent the Coast Guard in national and international meetings. To get this rank, an officer must be chosen by the President and approved by the Senate. Rear Admiral, upper half. This is the next level up, a 2-star Admiral. These leaders are in charge of some of the biggest parts of the Coast Guard. They might also oversee an entire region of the US, lead major missions like marine safety, or manage areas like equipment, people, or training across the whole service. Rear admirals also work closely with other government and military agencies during big national events or emergencies. Vice Admiral. Vice Admirals are three-star flag officers who serve just below the Commandant of the Coast Guard. With only a handful of these positions available at any given time, they're reserved for the most distinguished leaders in the service. Nominated by the President and confirmed by the Senate, Vice Admirals typically command entire mission areas, oversee Coast Guard operations nationwide, or serve as Chief of Staff. Their careers span decades, and their retirement is closely regulated due to the limited nature of the role. Admiral. Admiral is the highest rank in the U.S. Coast Guard, a four-star officer who serves as the Commandant of the Coast Guard, the top leader of the entire service. This person is in charge of everything: Coast Guard missions, policies, ships, planes, people, and operations across the country and around the world. The Admiral reports directly to the President and is chosen by the President and approved by the Senate. There's no higher active rank in the Coast Guard. While the Navy once had a 5-star Fleet Admiral rank, the Coast Guard does not and hasn't used anything above Admiral.